Alright, my final video of the day. And I don't know if these are going to be posted in order, so let me have a little cup of my Mojo juice, my specially modified coffee. I literally got up and, I took my medication and my supplements for the morning, and I made this coffee, and I sat down and I started making videos. I haven't brushed my teeth, gone to the bathroom, anything. Looper Radical once again asked, will I make more instructional videos? To be honest with you, I'm starting to kind of lose interest in YouTube. One audience member, Jose Gonzalez, from my old hometown, interacts with me regularly. He gives me ideas, he gives me questions. He says, I think it would be really cool to get your opinion on this, or, hey, this is my strong opinion, and we'll email, we'll communicate, and I might disagree with him, and I'll be like, Jose, you know what, I'm going to make a video trying to explain my point. And, Looper Radical sometimes asks me questions, and very little, I don't get a lot of. I'm getting the impression my videos are not that popular, and my thoughts aren't resonating with a lot of people, which is cool. So hey, why put out the product, right? I need a new camera and tripod set up, and honestly, I feel like some of the things that I could teach are best taught in person, but again, I'm 53. I like to practice the martial arts. I like to teach the martial arts. If I make a mass video, like for example, I like my Wing Chun forms, but this shoulder's been dislocated multiple times. This elbow's been a little bit janky. And so certain moves fit perfectly in the center line with my non-dominant hand. And certain moves I have to tweak and move the shoulder. And so I don't want to demonstrate them improperly. Even if I put a written disclaimer saying, I'm actually a disabled veteran, and try to focus more on what's happening on the left side, I just know that I'm going to get a million hateful comments. Your Wing Chun sucks, right? You can't even hold center line. I'm like, I just told you, like, there's a physical disability here, right? So, it's just not worth it, right? And I'm getting to the phase where I have two students in this town that I've trained that are both black sashes, and they're never going to open a school. One owns a chiropractic office, and his wife is the other student, and she works in that chiropractic office. She does massotherapy, and she does taxes, right? And Dr. Sam is a chiropractor. And they're both kind of, Dr. Sam is heavily focusing on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He stopped training with me amicably. He trained with me for a decade, and his wife still trains with me. But I'm actually kind of thinking of taking a sabbatical from that and just focusing on myself, right? I have a lot of information on Filipino martial arts. I just know that community is just going to hate me, because everyone's going to be like, well, you didn't train under this guru, you didn't train under that guru, right? The Goju Dao Te system, I could declare myself Grandmaster. I'm the only one that still has all of it. And even when we had active black belts and masters in the system, I'm the only one that got the complete system. I could declare myself Grandmaster Uchkun of the Goju Dao Te system, and I don't see how that wouldn't be legitimate. I was the fourth Dan in it. I don't know, if I had a group of black belts, a Udansha, evaluate me and vote me, there would be no reason to not make me a 10th Dan in it, right? But I don't really care, right? I'm more Kung Fu and Filipino martial arts than I am karate, right? I've created my own Kung Fu system, which I've taught for the past decade, right? Based on my life's experience of multiple teachers, multiple legitimate teachers. But then again, I had a Chinese martial arts organization evaluate my resume, my certificates, and videos of me doing my material. They rated me 5th Dan, which is like 5th Dan, in that organization. But it doesn't really, again, I don't have a school. All right. I want martial arts to be part of my life, all of my life. I want to live, if I could live 150 years in health or 150 more years in health and vitality, I would. There's a lot to do in life. There's a lot to see, right? I haven't even seen all of this world. And I want martial arts to be part of my life during that life. But I don't, the modern YouTube crowd, they think everything traditional is fake and everything outside of the cage is fake, and they think half of what's in the cage is fake. And some of them are like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the ultimate martial art, even though they don't train punching, kicking, weapons, multiple attackers, street awareness, most of them. If I find the right group, the right crowd, the right place, I wouldn't mind teaching every day in a studio. It's hard to work for other people. When you know, this is going to sound like bragging, when you know as much as I do, when you've been to places I have and trained the people I've trained with and seen the things I've seen some amazing things in martial arts. People are like, high kicks are useless in the street. The late Ed Youngsa, who I sparred with and trained with all the time, we both got 4th Dan in the Goju Dao system. Got in several street altercations, once at a gas station where something broke out while he was trying to, get gas. And he wound up hook kicking someone in the head in his relatively tight jeans, with kind of combat boot type boots that he wore. Knocked the guy out, right? I've been in multiple grappling situations where I used mostly the claw hand technique, getting into the eye and the groin and the throat, or both at the same time, right? And gotten out of the grappling situation without necessarily rolling with the person. Right? I pressure pointed people. Clavicular notch, sternal notch, dropped them to the ground. Because people are like, well, you're kung fu. I've met guys that had no martial art training, or, were kind of more MMA style guys, like, what good is kung fu? Boom. I put in the, sternal notch, and I said, now stand up. And he's like, I can't. I'm like, that's kung fu. Right? I've used a palm strike in high school. I used a palm strike to someone's chest, and I grabbed his chest flesh, and he was kind of a skinny guy. He had loose skin. Pulled him away from the locker, slammed him into the locker, and just walked away. That's a tiger claw technique. I've used that. I've been in a situation bouncing where I've controlled and deflected people using the white crane hand techniques, and instinctively dropped into a Sanchin stance. All these things are supposed to be fake martial arts. They're not supposed to work. So I've seen all the things that this modern age thinks is useless, not worth learning, and to me they're among the most valuable things I have in terms of martial arts. I love forms. I've got a glossary and encyclopedia of forms in my head. Once in a while I'll dust one out to make sure I have it. And now a lot of it's referenced on the internet, and I think they're incredible and valuable. I used to get grand championship trophies with empty hand forms and weapons forms, and I would place in black belt sparring. I wasn't a grand championship point sparrer, but I would do that. Karate's in the Olympics now. I could coach that easily, the Kumite section. I could coach Olympic Taekwondo as it used to be. It's a little kind of janky now. I can coach MMA kickboxing. I coached kickboxing here for 2 years for money with Zinni's gym, and we had a disagreement over the money, and I went my separate way. But I really don't think anybody cares, right? So why would I make more instruction? Just so a bunch of uninformed, uneducated, ignorant people who have a very myopic and limited view of martial arts can just insult me personally. It's not worth it. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? It's like it's be like chewing a tree to get, an ounce of honey. It's just not worth it. I've offered people, hey, if you really want to get into depth, contact me. I'll set up a study program. You'll pay me, because my knowledge is worth money. I get paid for this stuff. No one's taken me up on it. So, guys, you do you, I'll do me. I'm going to be a martial artist all the days of my life that I can. I love this stuff. It gives me so much. I'm going to teach those that are interested, that can learn this, that are interested, that'll practice it, and that'll hopefully pass it on the right way. I don't ever want to stop that. I want to continue developing the higher aspects of martial arts for me. How to employ pressure point attacks and vital point attacks under all kinds of pressure, subconsciously, reflexively, but have it under control so that I don't accidentally kill anybody. Okay? I've bought a Turkish yatagan and I may buy a Turkish kilic, and I want to practice more traditional weapons from the Turkish cultures, just to get in touch with that aspect of my heritage. I have a shillelagh, which I practice with sometimes, and I wouldn't mind, having formal instruction in that, because I want to get in touch with my Irish roots, which I am just as proud of, right? And I found out I'm 6% Ashkenazi Jew, so maybe I should learn how to make more money to get in touch with that aspect of my heritage, right? And all the Asian I discovered in my genetic test, all the Asian martial arts I've studied and still want to study are congruent with that, right? So maybe it's like, hey, get in touch with my genetic roots, my deep roots, even before my culture, my ancestry. That's one thing to do. The local SCA chapter meets so infrequently, and they're so unpredictable that, I'm not bothering with them. I would show up and nobody would be there, or they're like, no, we're in Jeff City, I don't drive. And but if there was, a way to get back into the SCA fighting and archery things, I wouldn't mind doing it again. It was a lot of fun. But it would have to be maybe, a place like New Jersey. If there was a geographic location where people were like, hey, we really need an instructor that knows the things and we've got a school and a class waiting for you. We got, we'll take care of the administration, and, you get to live here and be a teacher. I'd go. Right? I think I've done most of what I can do in this town in terms of teaching people and learning, any value. I don't think there's much here for me to learn. There's so much for me to teach, but honestly, Midwesterners, Missourians, whether they're progressive or, traditionalist, just don't like learning from outsiders and don't like admitting outsiders, whether they're liberal or conservative. They're all wired that way. And even the more liberal, progressive ones don't know how insular and provincial they can be here. Would I like to move back to New Jersey? Only if I'm rich, which I'm not. Okay, there's a lot going in New Jersey. There's incredible things happening there. There's incredible opportunities, but there's incredible costs. It's just a costly place to live. It's got more millionaires per capita than I think, especially New Jersey. Yeah, I think more than any other state. It's the most densely populated state, but it's 1/3 wildlife, one-third farmland. It's expensive to live there. But there's a lot to love. If I became a multimillionaire, I'd probably move back to Hamilton. right? If some town on the West Coast says, "Hey, we're like within walking distance or e-bike distance from the beach, and we got this martial arts studio here that desperately needs you, Belita. We'll even give you housing." Sure. What more do you need than that? Than a few beautiful women hanging around you, right? What more could you need? I don't need to be rich. Just need to be secure, healthy, and happy, which I think most people just want, right? So YouTube isn't a priority. You don't be surprised unless you people start asking me for things and interacting with me in ways that make me want to get on YouTube and post something. I'm just not going to bother much, right? It's still there when I need it. And my friend Jose is retiring, and we're talking about a few web projects, and that might be great. That might be the next big thing I do on the internet. But I'm kind of tired. I'm tired of getting not much out of it. It's damn near impossible to make any money on advertising on YouTube now that you have YouTube Red and ad blockers and all these things. You can't make a dime. If some sponsor sponsored me to make videos on a particular topic, that would be cool. Right now, I'm trying to be a writer, gym rat, martial artist. That's what I'm trying to focus on. And whatever you got and you love, if you're not hurting anybody, if you're not, forcing it on anyone, that you do that. You do you. Y'all have a good day.